Bring to order this meeting of the West Branch Planning and Zoning Commission. Welcome everyone here. And Leslie, let's begin with a roll call.
Chairperson Fuller.
Here.
Commission member Bowers.
Here.
Walsh.
Here.
The volume. No, I can't hear them.
Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3 of them have their mute buttons on, don't
Yeah,
they?
they turned them off though.
Can you hear me, Leslie?
Sound check, I need to test your
Can you
volume.
hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you?
No.
Testing,
Can you hear
testing.
me?
I can hear
I
you.
can hear you. We
They
can hear you.
me. Okay. Hold on.
Might have to use the,
Technology.
might have to use the nod tonight for voting.
Mic on.
Text me said speaker may have turned off.
Where's that at? It's plugged in.
Where is that at? Try powering it on again. Needed.
There's a master volume and a mic volume. Can anyone talk?
Yep.
Brad, say something?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Try talking.
We
Hello?
have been.
Testing,
Hello.
testing,
One that matters.
testing.
Okay, well, it's all the way up.
Hello.
Marco.
Yeah, what's this?
Master is turned all the way up.
There's something wrong with their system down there. What's so funny, Ryan?
Everybody talk at once.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Ah,
Then Ryan doesn't say a word.
Space bar for unmute is my cheat code.
So when there's a yellow frame around it, that means they're trying to talk.
can you hear me now?
Testing.
Does the speaker have a power button lit?
I take it that's a negatory.
There's a little battery and there's like a little
You're used to that, aren't you,
power
Brad?
is off.
Yeah. Nobody
Good
listens to
morning.
me. Yeah.
That's your problem.
Getting comfy there, Em?
Okay, Brad,
I have
say
everybody
Hello?
else on Zoom.
Can you hear me?
something.
Hello.
Hello?
Does the speaker have a power button?
Testing, testing. We can all hear fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jim.
Can hear them.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jim?
I can hear you, Brad. Yep, everybody's fine. Aye.
Hey, there's something happening.
Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Loud
Testing,
and
testing.
clear?
Oh, wonderful.
What are you yelling about?
We're all screaming at Terry now.
Okay, we're here.
Wonderful.
Okay, let's start that again.
Okay, we're doing a roll call.
Chairperson Fuller,
Here, Phil.
Commission Member Bowers,
Here.
Walsh,
Present.
Bauer,
Here.
Hoffman,
Here.
Van Scoy, Heck, both absent.
Okay, well, at least we have a quorum, so we can begin. We have an agenda before us. I think you've all been sent that. And so I'd like approval of the agenda, or if we want to make any changes in it, we certainly can do that. All those in favor of the agenda that we've been sent, notify by voice or raise your hand, one or the other. Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Ah, no opposition. Okay, well, the first item is to take a look at our minutes from the September meeting and see if we have any changes, any additions, anything that didn't get captured in those meeting minutes. Anyone see anything?
Hey, John used to sound like Darth Vader.
I do. I'm sorry. Well, maybe I knew about this part of it anyway. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, any additions, changes, comments on the minutes from September? If not, let's have a voice vote again. All those in favor of the September 22nd meeting minutes? Aye.
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 Those opposed? Then we had a special meeting on November 10th. And we have a minutes for that special meeting as well. I hope you had a chance to look at that. Anyone want to comment or add to or see anything on those minutes that you'd like to remark on? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion.
Very good. I have a 2 Bowers. Okay, sounds good. All those in favor, aye.
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 Okay, the minutes stand. So the moving to item 4 on the agenda, we have an agenda for movement to action and public hearing of amending the area regulations, 165 or .34. And let's see.
Just as a reminder, these, it was noted when the College Street Bridge was under construction, the I-2 district, which the College Street Bridge goes through, was noted that there were no area regulations. Of property owner in that area had asked about if his grain bins were to blow down, what could he build there? And that's when it was noted that they were missing. So we discussed this several months ago, what we felt was comparable. This is what we came up with. So this is just the public hearing. If we had any public comments to go for or against what was proposed in the next ordinance, which is the next item.
Very good. Are there any comments? Members or public, either one? And the changes are in red in the copy that you provided us.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, Leslie, these were, when we discussed this before, these were just copied over from the section which was referenced. I think this is really similar to another section that was already being used for similar. I-1, okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing no further comments or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendment. Pass it on to the council.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, very good. All those, let's see, I don't suppose we need to have a call the roll vote on this.
it's going to go through the council. They'll have to do a roll call vote, so I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, all those in favor of the revised or amendment to the chapter, I indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, unanimously goes on to the council. Wait for this. The next is a request that we've had from the owner of Jack and Jill to add fueling pumps. And that gentleman is not here with us.
Yeah, he's on Zoom.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Yeah.
This is our first chance to look at this proposal. What we've seen are a drawing of how these pumps would be put in place. We haven't exactly heard the rationale for why they should take place, but I think that it would be worthwhile to have AJ let us know what his proposal is.
Okay.
This is just for discussion purposes, not to essentially suggest or not suggest either way to the council. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about the idea?
Okay. First of all, thank you. Thank you to all of you. Sorry that my today, like my laptop is not working great. So if I have understanding not clear, I'm sorry for that. I have like few customer requests that it's worthy. It's because they have to drive all the way to the other side of the highway, and then they think maybe if there is some we can put some. There used to be cases before, and they suggested me like maybe it's a good idea if we can have the pump, the gas there, so that everything will be available in one place, like nowadays in Hy-Vee. And I mean, you can see like lots of Hy-Vee is having gas station plus their own grocery store. So it's just a more advanced form of grocery store we want to make. I know there is difficulty, and then as Leslie told before, the engineer said flood issue and other issue, but we can, with the help of everybody, we can overcome, and we'll do our best. We'll listen to you guys and how we can make it possible. And then the main reason is we want to help the town, the city, and the people, the local people. We're gonna have like the gas much cheaper than the other place. We'll offer like a 10 cents per gallon discount to everybody. So that is like a big saving per everybody. And then we'll keep our grocery store as it is, and we'll improve on that. And we'll also do like full service to our elderly people and disabled people. So we'll have always somebody they can go and pump the gas for them. And so a lot of reasons we think is going to help the city, and plus it's going to also help me because I have 4 stores. I have 3 other gas stations, and from my experience, and that will bring customer, and then they will do shopping in our store. That's a good thing for us and good for people. So that's our motivation to for proposing this to the city. And there is some issue the engineer mentioned before, like the flood issue, but that's I mean, like, when was the last time there was a flooding issue, and then what's the probability that that's going to affect the gas, not having gas station there. And we have lots of story in, like, if you look in if you go through to the Davenport on the River Drive, there is like a few gas stations. They have flooding in couple of years, but they have never issue there. And then we are talking here in like how many years we have this flood issue. So that's one of the thing we can fix easily. And the other thing is like the delivery, the gas delivery, and we can do that before the store open or after the store close. And then that's, and as I say, like we can work together with the city and with city's approval. And then, but that's gonna help to the people because 10 cents per gallon discount will offer then the other gas station in the town. That means like in the long run, if you look, that's hundreds of thousands of saving. If you look like 10 years, saving is like $1 million saving for the people. And that money people can use to the town and, like for other purpose. So I think that's, I mean, from my view, that's a good thing for me, for the town, for the people, and then as I say, like if there is some issue, we are ready to, solve with, with the help of, the city. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You're quite right. We did have a Casey's in town, and going back a few more years, you had other gas stations in town, including one that Leslie certainly knows about, where there was the capability of having somebody else fill your gas tank, and I'm sure with some elderly people that worked out very well. There are quite a few questions though about rezoning to allow that kind of an operation within your particular spot. So let me, before I ask any more questions, let me see if the commission members would like to bring up any points.
If I may, John, I think it sounds like, AJ, you've looked into the comments that were provided by the city engineer. And I don't know that I have any new concerns beyond what he's expressed there. I guess if you think you can overcome those issues, then maybe there's a possibility this could work. We want to try and find a way for you to make this work too. It just seems like it's a hard fit. We'd have to rezone your lot, and in a historic preservation district and a floodplain, you've got a lot of things working against you. So I think you'll probably have a lot of work to do behind the scenes to overcome those issues. It sounds like you've got some ideas for that, but maybe no concrete solutions yet. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Do you hear me? I mean, what happened to the video? Okay. So yeah, there is definitely some ups, and as I say, like we'll work together. Whatever the store needs to do, we'll do. And at the end, like if it's not feasible, the city, the final decision is you guys, So as I say, like I propose the idea that's going to help to the city and the people, as I say, like we'll offer always 10 cents discount on gas. And that's like, if you consider, if like my other store, we sell like 40,000, 50,000 gallon gas in other store. So that's a big saving. And then, as I say, like we'll offer like free service to the elderly people. And then we'll try to do like as many people need the service. We'll try to do our best. But there is always like the historic thing, that's a main issue. And as I say, like that's the final step from the city. And the flood issue, I don't think that's, when was what's the probability of the, the flood issue. That's, but we'll also work on that, so. So
if I may
I would say
jump in,
the flood issue is already determined by a flood zone that's determined by FEMA. Am I wrong on that?
You're right.
Correct.
Okay. And so my understanding from Dave's comments is that rules and regulations don't allow for underground storage tanks in the FEMA designated floodplain. And that's a federal designation that we don't really have any control over. So I guess I would start there. And is that, I don't have Dave's comments. Am I right, John?
That's correct.
Okay. So that's something that's way, I think from the very beginning is way out of our control. That's a federal declaration of where the floodplain is. And that's based on the history of where it has flooded. So I don't know who else can speak to that, but I think that was the biggest issue for me for us to overcome. It's not something that we really have any control over.
Others of you may recall the parking lot being flooded at Jack and Jill in the past. Not that far in the past, as a matter of fact. That is,
I think 2012, right, John?
yeah. And before.
And the city's in the process of making improvements in the park area and downstream. I think I've seen in the capital improvement plan discussions,
We hope that.
but there's no way to measure how that's going to affect it. I think they'll have to remap after all that work is done, and it's just a
We're gonna
long
have to
ways.
have the data. Yeah.
I also had a question about the sketch that you drew up in terms of the placement of the fuel pumps. And this requirement that the fuel pumps need to be 35 feet from the street right of way is a little bit difficult. I don't know that, I didn't measure it exactly, but I don't know if it should be 35 feet either from Main Street or from North First Street.
Yeah, I think we can work on that. That's I think I talked to the contractor, and they said that can be done. Whatever the city mentioned, we can do that 30 foot or 35 foot. That's possible.
Good to hear. And then the other aspect is getting cars in and out of the parking area. That may be a little bit difficult if a parking area is not as large as one might wish for that kind of a purpose. And so maybe a little bit of additional work at exactly where you would place pumps, were they to be permitted, would be worthwhile.
Yeah. Right. The parking should not be a problem. We already looked that into, and we can with the pumps we can still have like like eight or 10 parking space for the for people and like when we are really busy we see like up to 4 to 6 like the car in the parking lot. So that means that easily gives enough space for the parking. So that the parking shouldn't be the problem, issue. I think, So yes.
Okay. Other comments or questions by members of the commission? Oh yes.
Question I have is there, I'm assuming there's a requirement for parking stalls for this business. I'm assuming square footage wise of the building requires so many parking stalls. 1 per 200, I think it is. So I would say that with the pump being in there, I don't know what that requirement is, but
Would it still be met? Is the
would it still
question.
be met,
Okay, that's something else you could perhaps look into and let us know. Terry, would you be able to provide that requirement?
Yeah, it's just, from what I'm figuring, it's 1 per 200 square feet of floor area for a retail establishment. So depending on the size of your store, you just divide the square footage by 200, and that would be the required number of parking spaces.
Okay. I think that is to like a 6,000 square foot, I guess.
That'd be what, 30 parking spaces?
Yeah,
That many there. I know there's not that many.
that would be approximately 30. Well, you might want to check that out and give us some.
I mean, like there is definitely a lot of issues, and it's not easy. If it is easy, like we're like everything, it will be possible to go that route easily. But but as you said, like we really have to a lot of works, and then there is a lot of issue like the flood issue and the historic. Those are the main concern, I think. And then beside the other issues, we can like with the help of the engineer, we can talk about the parking and other things. But like if there is some rules and regulation that we cannot cross that. As you mentioned, like federal rules and other, if there's regulation, then definitely it's not gonna be possible. But like if there is something that if the city consider this is a good idea and city can do their part, and then we will do our part, and then I mean we don't want to invest like a 300,000 or like a money just for nothing, so we want to invest so that will help for us and for the people, so that's our goal, so they say if it's not possible, then that's okay, I mean that's fine, we'll just keep as it is, we thought like that's gonna be a good investment for the grocery store, I mean in the city. And the grocery store is not new, that's been there for 20, 30 years. That's an old store. So we don't want to put money, $300,000 just for an old store, I mean, if it's not gonna help to the town and help to us, so, but as I say, like we'll follow all the rules and regulations, and if it blocks to our goal, we'll easily give up this, there's nothing that we really have to do this, so it's just we're just trying, so if it works for the city without messing up the rules and regulations, then let's go ahead, and then help me. I mean, we need your help. I'm city's help, and if city help us, and we'll help people, that's our goal. But like, we don't want to pay the price of breaching the rules and regulations. So that's my say, so.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Your
Thank you very much.
proposal. You want to go back and see if you can fine tune it more, talk more with the city engineer perhaps, then we could entertain a rezoning request.
I'm happy to talk to the city engineer and then discuss like what he thinks, can be, like we can change to make this work. I mean, I'm happy to work with you guys, and so if it is possible, and as I say, like we'll make sure everybody happy. We'll make sure everything is under the rules, to and then we'll start. We're not just gonna, just do anything. So, and then we just didn't think. I mean, we thought about this for last few months, and we thought maybe it's a good idea. So, but as I say, like it will take time, and then I don't know. I mean, if I'm doing right decision or not, but I mean, I'm just thinking that's gonna be a good thing for the city, because there used to be cases there, and lots of people. I told me like they were not happy when cases moved to the other side of the highway, because case used to be there. I mean, I don't know about the history, everything about the West Branch, because I'm from Muscatine, and but I know the town now, and it's a very beautiful, nice people there. And I'm trying, like, beside my busy schedule of, managing all 4 stores, I'm the manager. So I'm giving my, like time as much as I could to build this store, and then make everybody happy. But like,
I think you're right. I think there's a need for it. I mean, I think people would prefer to have a gas station. I just am not sure that the property is the right property in the right location. I think, but I would start with the floodplain part and the underground storage tanks. I think that's probably the biggest one, would be, in my opinion, to be hard to overcome, and then kind of go from there. But I don't disagree with you with people wanting something in town, but I'm not sure what your capabilities are given that property itself. So definitely chat with Dave or whomever and maybe narrow those things down. And
absolutely.
John, can the commission table this and maybe put a motion out to come back with a more formal updated plan at a later date?
This is simply an opportunity for discussion, and we can certainly undertake a rezoning request if some of these issues can get worked out.
Okay.
I think we're all agree with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Next is item 4D, and it's a matter of a proposed meat locker on Division Street. I'm going to turn to Leslie because we don't have the person making the proposal with us. He may be down with COVID-19 at this moment, but you perhaps fill us in on what's come before the city.
Okay, back in the middle of October, hi Matt, I just saw that you arrived. I'm going to put you on the calendar. Sorry, I was trying to get a message out to Nick. We got a visit from property owner Dan Hobb, who owns Oasis Electric and owns property up on 600 Division Street. He said he was interested in putting a butcher shop up at his property. Obviously, he was going to expand the building for this. Right now, the building that he has is used for, one side is used for SDS trucking. They use it for some office space. And then he has office space for his business, Oasis Electric. This proposed addition would be on the north and west side of the building. As we were discussing what he was wanting to do, we looked at the zoning, and he is in the HCI district, and the HCI district does not allow a slaughterhouse. His intention is to have animals come there, be slaughtered, be processed, and then have and then be prepared to be sold as like a meat counter kind of thing. So I suggested that he first of all submit a building permit with his proposal, which he did. It was denied because not because of the actual what he wanted to do, but the building itself, but that it didn't fit the zoning requirements for what he wanted to do. So we're kind of at that point now. He's not able to attend. We had an internal meeting, Redmond and the city attorney and I, we kind of kicked around and discussed what he was wanting to do. Lots of information has kind of gone back and forth. We decided we needed some more information from Mr. Hobb. I sent him an email back in October, but I've not heard back from him yet. So at this point, Terry has been looking into what a slaughterhouse is, what a butcher shop is,
Or a locker.
or a locker. So I think we still need some more information, but maybe we need to also look at the code to see if the zoning, if there's definitions that are described appropriately in those zones. So anyway, Terry, do you have anything you want to add on that?
No, I guess the big thing is I think we need to take a look at and see how many animals are being, I hate to say this, killed, and how much retail there is. If they're bringing animals in every single day, I mean, is he having outdoor, maybe what I call a stockyard to hold the animals until they're killed? And I mean, or is he bringing in animals that have already been killed? I think we need to get a better definition or a better idea of what he actually is doing, and get some definitions on what a slaughterhouse is, what a butcher shop is, and what a locker is. From what I've been researching, is a locker is a place where they hang meat in a refrigerated locker. The butcher's where they go ahead and they cut up meat and there's no slaughtering going on there. And then a slaughterhouse is, yes, that's where they kill the animals. I mean, I think we definitely need to take a look at those three different types of uses to figure out, even if it isn't allowed in an HCI zone for a slaughterhouse, could it be called a retail? Could it be called a locker? So I think we're more at a fact-finding mission right now, but I think Leslie wanted to make sure that she brought all of you people on now to start thinking.
I always understood a locker to be a butcher to be a place where animals are brought by trailer and then slaughtered, and then hung, and then butchered. In my understanding and from the beef that I purchased, it all happens in one location. Am I wrong about that? Anybody else have opinions, ideas?
You are correct.
So, and I'm also not sure why we're having this discussion if Dan hasn't gotten back to us,
Well, I
to
wanted-
be honest. Like,
This is
I'm not-
more for information purposes than anything else.
oh, I see. Okay. So we're trying to figure out our own stuff. Is that
I think that it wouldn't hurt if Terry were to get us some definitions that we have in front of us before the time that this would come up as a matter of rezoning.
got it?
The initial,
Yeah, just to add to that, if I can, because I know we kind of been talking about the definitions, the butchering, the hanging, all that is kind of considered the process and the processing, and processing is allowed now. It's the killing that is throwing this out of the current
Yeah.
zone situation. And I know that there is some concern with how to handle the blood on our sewer system. And so that's why the number of killing would be a pretty important piece. And then we're also not sure what is the threshold that kicks it into a definition, if we can get to one, of slaughterhouse. If you only kill 10 a year, is that going to be considered slaughterhouse, or it has to be 100 a year, or what? So we're trying to fine tune in that to, make it available if it makes sense. Then there's also retail that's there, and that, we just got finished talking about parking. So how much retail? And that's also a kind of troubled area with the current businesses and traffic going in there, because the street's a little undersized, and so that raises a whole nother issues of, will we have to put more investment in widening the streets and things of that nature. So although it seems that it could be a kind of a simple deliberation, there's a lot of other pieces going on in that.
There's a lot of specific unanswered questions, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a fair amount of additional research, including impact on the sewer system.
I might also
quite
ask
frankly-
a question,
Oh, go ahead.
if I can. If there's a comparable business in another town nearby, what sort of zoning they have? Are we, asking this business owner to do something that another town isn't? We want to keep people here if we can. We don't want to create hardship for them, but also make sure that we're following the rules. And, if this isn't a permitted use, then what zoning is required for what he's doing? And it sounds like those
Tipton,
questions
for
are still in the
example.
process. So,
Tipton has a locker, right?
but it's not a slaughterhouse there, is it? Does anyone else here know? I don't think do they kill them there?
Yes, they kill them both in West Liberty and Tipton.
Okay.
You take them there, and it goes in a building, and then they do the kill there, and then it goes from there on.
The problem you're
Not
going to
my-
have with these other communities is a lot of these, whatever you want to call it, a locker, a butcher, or a slaughterhouse, have been there for an awful long time. The only one that I can think of around here is the one in West Liberty. That's probably been there about 10 to 12 years. Yeah, and they do their own slaughtering there. And that is in a industrial zone. So, I mean, and in regards to the sewage system, this business would be required to have a fog interceptor, which is a fats, oils, and grease interceptor. And the size of that is going to be based on, I think, usually these are based on gallons per minute of what's going through there, which would extract all the fats, oils, and greases. And that's something I think Matt would have to work out with the owner if something like this would be approved. Because we definitely don't want that going down into, our sewer system, because that's gonna really create havoc.
And I guess if I may jump back in, I think generally the use of the building, I think there's a vet clinic right next to there. And so it seems like there may be a small amount of, live animal traffic that already comes into this area. But it would also be very close to the new Casey's that's right there. So it could be an issue of how this is going to look. Like, how is this an enclosed area or open? Like, we probably don't want to have an open pasture with animals about to be killed right next to Casey's. You could have cows walking across your parking lot or something, you don't want things like that. And I'm sure that's probably not what he's proposing, but just to know those answers before we approve something would be helpful, I suppose.
I agree. I think Dan needs to come back with what he's actually proposing to do and some numbers.
Okay, then fact finding is next. And lastly, if he does contact you, you can express our interest, but nonetheless, our need for more information.
Yeah, I will send him a follow-up.
Okay, great. Let's move on to number 5, old business. We've been talking about this for quite a while. We've got language that would amend the chapter 165.50 on swimming pools. And you'll see that in red in the materials that you were sent. The major change for this is that we have talked about fence requirements a fair amount, and the general feeling of many who have discussed, including our city council members, is that above ground swimming pools would not require fences. In-ground swimming pools that are deeper than 24 inches would. So, and that permanent pools would, and ones that are taken down at the end of the season would not. So, comments? Anyone?
I guess I'll start. I think it looks like since the last time we talked about this, either Terry or Leslie, one of you, has apparently added some definition to the permanent pool, and it defined that at 24 inches or more deep. Is that and then updated the fence requirement to only for permanent pools? Are those the two things that have changed, it seems like?
Yes, that is correct. And that was based off of, I took this to the last draft to the city council to have them review it, because I thought if they didn't have some information on it, that by the time you guys pass it, they may kill it. So I got their feedback, and that's what they came back with.
Yeah, and I think from my memory, it sounds like that clears up the discussions that we had about it, just defining what pools would require the fence, and avoiding requirements for like hot tubs and temporary seasonal pool setups and above ground pools that are tall enough that they might meet that fence requirement with their edges instead of something that you could just walk into. So I guess I don't have any concerns with this language. It seems like it meets what we had talked about before. I don't know if anyone else has any comment.
I think your memory is
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I think it's a great consolidation of where we were before in our previous
Agreed.
discussion.
Yep, I think it pretty much matches what our concerns were with the initial versus the initial.
okay. If that is the case, we could move into a public hearing on amending this particular ordinance. And let me ask if there are any comments that members of the public would like to provide. Hearing none, I think we can move into either passing the revised ordinance onto the city council or denying that.
We will need to have a public hearing, an actual public hearing that I'll need to post.
Oh, you didn't post this?
No, this one wasn't posted
okay.
because we weren't
Oh, I'm
done.
ahead of
Yeah,
myself.
yep, you're ahead of yourself. So we'll have a public hearing at the next meeting, which is in January. And in that meeting, we'll have our public hearing. You can look at it one final time. You approve it, then it will go to city council in late January.
Okay, well, let's be just.
I'm sorry, February.
February.
Yep.
Good time to deal with swimming pools, I suppose. Just say that I think that the discussion has suggested to all of us that this is a good revision and that we can then have a public hearing on the matter. Okay. Let me move next to the city staff reports. And I see we have a couple of folks who are having their commission terms expiring. And I'm sure that Leslie would like to know if you folks would like to continue to serve. Hope this isn't too onerous and that you'd be happy to be with us.
And Jim, I would just like to clarify for Jim, he was actually fulfilling an unexpired term
Right.
of Tom Dean. So that's why his is up for renewal. So if you would like to stay on, it is a 4-year term. So you just need to let me know. I think the mayor is, no, I'm sorry, the city council is the one who appoints and does a reappointment. So we'll do that in January.
I think the mayor proposes and the council agrees or not.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, appointed by city council. It's right on here on my little list. I get confused.
So I'll say it here, I'm not willing to stay on board, so
You're
make
willing?
sure
All right. Thank
Good
you.
to hear.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Emily?
Yeah, I suppose.
All right.
I don't want Brad to do anything crazy while I'm gone.
All right.
Well, you can help prevent anything crazy.
So be sure to come to the January 26th meeting because you'll both be back on then.
Got it.
Thank you.
we'll do.
Okay, any more comments? Any more staff thoughts that we need to know about?
Building code wise, things are still seem to be chugging right along yet. Still pretty busy. So it doesn't seem to be slowing at all. I have talked to some contractors that are not building here in town that will be building here in town either this fall yet or in the spring. So I think that the two subdevelopments are getting pretty close to being done in regards to public improvements. So there's going to be, some more houses going up.
No rest for the wicked, right, Terry?
Let me just bring up with Redmond, it's going to be a while before we have ourselves a census number, longer than usual, I suspect. But have you thought at all about a special census request that might go in, say, in 2022 or so? Redmond?
Well, I haven't thought of it. What would be the benefits?
Benefits would be that we would have more inflow of funds from the state, federal governments.
And it come in faster?
Oh, yeah. I mean, waiting till 2030, when we've been growing the way we have, as Terry points out, I think would be much too long. But
I don't mind doing it. I don't know too much about the process.
Right. Well, I'm just bringing it up, and it's something that we certainly might want to consider as a city, because if we have another couple hundred people or so in town, that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I think there's 500 units in that development behind BP that just started. So the timing might be appropriate when those are built out and starting to fill in to look at our city being, at least based on the last census, that would be 1/5 of our population added when that's complete. So that would certainly add some weight to our funding.
That was why I was suggesting 2022, maybe 2023, but.
What is the census of West Branch right now?
About 2,400.
Last 2010
That was in 2010, right?
Yeah.
2010 it was 23, 22, or 24, 23, 24. So yeah, about 2,400.
Let's look at our comprehensive plan and find out. So it's certainly going to be a little bit greater if the census was done properly. but I think it's going to be much greater given the additional construction taking place. Okay, well, I think,
I got one more question.
please, yes.
And this is just a general question, and it's probably is directed towards Leslie. I know we've been going ahead and changing things in the zoning ordinance and adding things. Is there a recodification at some point? I mean,
Why do you ask that?
I'm just
Actually,
asking.
I've been working on that since February.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I just sent an email to Iowa Codification last week and said, we're done for now. We actually did this, to give you a little bit of history, when I first started, Paul Stagg had the zoning chapters gone through by P&C. So there were quite a few changes at that time. Those have not been recodified into the plan. Those will be recodified into this next plan. They said I would have a draft probably in February or March. But the ongoing, we will do an annual update. So we will be continuing to look at our code. So I would say once we get our update back and it's done, each year we're going to ask for people to continue to review it so that we don't get behind, because my understanding was that our last code full update was in 1999 and it's supposed to be done every 10 years. So somewhere something happened. So
10 or 20. I mean,
so I'm on it.
I'm just asking, because once you get,
details, details.
There's a lot of, as you
Yeah.
can see with my all the little notes on here, that's all that. So I've been
Thank you, Leslie, for all you do.
welcome in my spare time.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere along the line, we've got a whole new book then.
Yeah, so hopefully I don't know how long it takes. I've never done this before. Hopefully by next summer, we will have a new book, and it will be a completely new book. It's also going to, we paid a little extra. It's going to be online like it is now. However, it's going to be searchable.
Good.
If you go to other cities, you'll see where you can actually just click on the chapter and pull it all up. It's going to be much nicer and much easier to find things.
that's nice.
That might save you a million questions throughout the year, wouldn't it?
I've
Yeah.
learned a lot about the code in the last.
Yeah, but people could look it up for themselves instead of call you.
But yes, it's coming. So recodification
Awesome.
is the process.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to. Ha.
Okay. Emily seconds. Our next meeting then will be on January 26th, unless we get a major blizzard going on at that time. So thank you all. Oh, wait, I've got to call the motion. All those in favor, yes?
Aye.
Yes.
Those opposed? Okay, thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys.